It's like a call, but there was also a pathos, both being mixed inside.
It's nice.
This was always AR doing two emotions inside one little tune, and in such a short signature. He would not say chaya chaya. Chaya 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 chaka chaya chaya. The hamma, hamma. He doesn't approach his background score like the way others approach. It's not a kind of intellectual approach, it's an emotional approach.
Tracking milestones of an incredible journey spanning 30 years. Rahman Music Sheets.
Hi friends! In this episode, how about a twist in the tale? It's there for you all, so do watch the episode till the end and capture the moment of the day. The Airtel signature tune. The first advertising film A.R. Rahman acted in. His transformation into becoming a youth pop icon started with Vande Mataram. The song, celebrating India's 50th year of independence in 1997, became our largest selling non-film album globally. And then, the new millennium brought him Bombay Dreams, a musical by the renowned British composer Andrew Lloyd Webber. Bombay Dreams jump-started Rahman's career in international projects. Then came something that was beyond dreams for Rahman, an offer to act in an advertising film.
You were a witness to this evolution of Mr. Rahman. Can you describe this journey?
So, AR was a very, very shy person. He went for taking stills. His first set of stills with his, keyboards were shot by me, and he would think that if I take his picture, then the pictures come out well, because otherwise he gets very tense. And it's difficult to imagine that shy AR now, because he's like a rock star. He's performing all over the world with giant screens and all that, and wearing designer clothes. It's a completely different Rahman that we are talking about now from what it was then. So he was very, very shy, and he would barely speak one or two words, and that Rahman, first time getting a big visual launch with Ma Tujhe Salam, and suddenly there was this person with long hair on the beach singing with Vijay. I said, wow, now you're very confident you're singing with thing. He said, I don't know what, man. I mean, there was sea and all that. I just did it. So he was suddenly becoming the visual pop icon from being just a nerdy composer inside the studio. And that transition was happening, and he had just done Bombay Dreams, and so he was just becoming more confident. He had to tackle and tell people things, and no, I can't, I can, yes, no, and it would be sending emails back and forth to Andrew Lloyd Webber, and also the world suddenly was, okay, let me not get stuck here. So what's the next thing? And then it was his first commercial endorsement where he was going to act. So he was petrified with how is he going to act.
Live every moment. The Airtel campaign was conceptualized by Rediff, one of India's largest ad agencies. Their toughest challenge was convincing Rahman to appear on screen. Airtel wanted to convey coverage and voice clarity as its unique selling points. To represent voice clarity, Airtel's best bet was Rahman, the new voice of Indian film sound.
So he had done this tune and he thought this tune didn't work. And he said, I just got some kind of thread, I don't know if it worked. I came and heard it and I said, it's brilliant. So he said, you think so? But they're having a doubt. I said, no, it's just da 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 da.
Sounds cool.
So there was, it's like a call, but there was also a pathos, both being mixed inside, the major minor kind of a thing. So this was always AR doing two emotions inside one little tune. And in such a short signature, he had got that. And there was something unique. And today, it's played, it's the most famous call tune in India. I mean, like corporate call tune that you can think of.
Hey, do you want to hear this? It's nice.
How did this tune come up? How did you do? How did you jam with people? And that was the time how do we bring in the technology that people could actually be talking on the phone and you could be relaying information. It was way before 5G and way before Zoom and things like that. It was that period where the phone could actually record and send. So we had to incorporate those things as well as take this idea of what was actually behind the music and what's the collaboration and all this.
You want to add something more?
Living a dream, living a home, let the rhythm take control. Living this day, living it now, live the moment right now.
And yet, hold the technology back, but it was also a star who's performing. So this visual and this thing, so we picked on London and we chose to do it. But when we reached London, we were going to shoot. They said, no, don't show the London cap, don't show this. We don't want to specifically say it's happening in London. It could be happening anywhere because this commercial is largely, there's no network in London now for Airtel. There's only a network in India. So we had to be in London but not show a London cab. So we had to kind of find visuals which were at the same time not typically British, but somehow communicating that international feel which is there in his music and in his persona. And he was just becoming an international figure. It was before Slumdog Millionaire.
Did you have the complete soundtrack while shooting?
No, we composed the track first. We went with the track to London and shot it. We had a track, we made it thicker and with more real instruments after we came back, but we had the full track with us when we went to shoot.
Airtel. Live every moment.
The tagline, "Live every moment," meant if you have a mobile phone, you are actually living every moment. Rahman took technology and molded it into a soul of music. Produced at the cost of rupees 5 crore or $1 million in early 2002, in no time, it became the most downloaded ringtone across the globe. Airtel market share shot up immediately.
Airtel. Live every moment.
Airtel ad was all about sound. The film had to be heard more than watched. Do you think his musical sensibilities as a composer of ad films impacted his feature film songs and background scores?
No, I mean, see, I've done 3 feature films with him as a director. I have shot, 3 feature films as a cinematographer. So I think, advertising is what he started off with, but there is certain aspects of his film music as well as his background score which are unique. Unique because of the fact that he doesn't approach his background score like the way others approach. It's not a kind of intellectual approach, it's an emotional approach. So he sees something and he feels some emotion and he just lets it happen. So therefore there is a huge time constraint and he's under pressure and he likes to create things in that way. So it can be frustrating for the filmmaker's point of view, but what he's doing is he's actually searching for something. He's searching for something different. And then there are two sides. There is this musician who's searching for something different, and then there is this child in him which is driving his musical composition. So if you notice, he loves the tripling of words. This is the typical technique of his, so he would not say chaya chaya.
चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 छैया
Chaya 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 chaka chaya chaya. The hamma, hamma. Kuchi kuchi rakamma. This doubling of words, the tripling of words. These are all typical things which, like, it's like a child saying a rhyme. So he would pick these catchwords and he would, use those catchwords to, either say it 3 times or he would say it, but very rarely in the way it was done before. And that aspect of him, doubling, tripling these sounds became his musical signature. And then there was this very, very simplistic melody, but there was a very different kind of rhythm pattern. And he wasn't using the conventional thing. And he was just listening to various kinds of music and wanting to experiment. And therefore, he wasn't really worried about what will happen. And he wanted to work with young people who would accept it. And that's why he ended up doing advertising. And he tried doing some conventional films and it was miserable because they were trying to instruct him what to do. So he picked and chose most of his initial set of directors that he chose to work with are only people who were wanting the experimental stuff. And suddenly when he went to North India and then he was doing his tracks and his success with Tal and his success with, Ram Gopal Verma and things like that, his musical repertoire started growing, and then it's his ability to collaborate with other musicians. He wasn't a guy sitting there who knew it and said, okay, you come in and just record. He was never a person who knew it. He was always the musician who was trying to figure it out and trying to figure out how to do it. So he had this vague idea. So his musicians are his collaborators, his singers are his collaborators. And the day he feels he's not getting something from them, he stops using and he goes to the next person, because actually the singers he chooses, he's expecting them to take this tune and make it different, bigger. And what if you try to sing it with like a folk style? What if you try to sing it? So I remember very clearly during the recording of Mani Ratnam's Tu Hi Re song, the song was sounding very much like a ghazal and it wasn't really going anywhere, and Hari was really wanting to sing it more and more classical, and then Rahman was looking at it and he didn't know what to do. Is it Hariji, how do those Rajasthani singers sing something? Yeah, sing like that. And then say, now sing this Tu Hi Re like that. Let me hear you sing this like that. You will say Tu Hi Re like that. Try to sing it like that. So, can you imagine taking Hari ji, who is known for ghazals, and saying, okay, now sing it like a folk musician, and then suddenly the song just lit up. And there was all these dying notes. Tu hi re, tere bina main kaise jiyon. So the recording was the most creative phase. So here was this man who would hear a situation, go and pray, then come and light a candle, and he's like saying, now let me forget everything else out of the world. It's a spiritual experience now. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to just let it flow. So it's just playing, and then somebody in between he'll fall asleep. Then he'll start doing, and he'll record this improvisation, which may be like 10 minutes long. And then he'll just forget about it. He'll go to sleep or lie down. Then come back and start chopping this 10-minute improvisation into a 2-minute song or a 3-minute song. And then say, let's repeat it. It was completely different, like, okay, now I'm going to sit with a harmonium and I'm going to compose this song in 5 minutes. It wasn't like that. So, fix a groove and then play different things on top of it. Some on beat, some off beat, some ad-lib. And then he started singing. So first it was just keyboards, and as he started singing, he started getting more confident, and that's where the influence of Nusrat Fateh Ali, and then he started learning Hindustani, learning how to pronounce words, how to do it. So as a musician, he was continuously growing and changing, and it's an incredible achievement. Whatever you do in any field, to be there on top for 20 or 30 years is enormous. And the only parallel that you can see in India of a young person who came in and got success but didn't lose his head and remained focused all his life is probably Sachin Tendulkar. So I would say that AR is the Sachin Tendulkar of music. I mean, he just stayed focused on that and remained focused on that. And even today, when we sit and we talk about music, he just walked into this office like some 6 months back. I lost my mother, and said, I was just going, what are you doing? And just landed up, and I didn't have anything to do. We just ordered some curd rice and sambar rice, and we sat here and talked for like 3 hours about music. I mean, we were just listening to music, and he was playing me some tracks that he had composed, and it was just completely out of his studio experience, nothing, but just talking music. And that joy is still there. He wants to be the musician. But now he has so much of work, and he has so many things to do. It's a different. He's a star. But I think what really drives AR is the child in a toy shop, who has to buy the latest equipment and try it out and see what new sound he can create, and that joy the world is there. It's not driven by intellectual arrogance. It's not driven by ego. It's just driven by, let's see what I can come up with now.
Rajiv Menon and Rahman worked together on 3 feature films that Menon directed and 3 films that Menon shot. On our next episode, Rajiv Menon will be back with untold stories of those films. Stay with us. And now the twist.
The only parallel that you can see in India of a young person who came in and got success but didn't lose his head and remained focused all his life is probably Sachin Tendulkar. So I would say that AR is the Sachin Tendulkar of music.
Do you agree that this indeed was the moment of the day? Is your choice different? Whatever your mind says, write it in the comments section below. We will be waiting. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon and stay entertained.